Positive energy and good vibrations from me to you. You have now tuned in to Imperfect Fathers Podcast.
What up?
Shaking my shoe. Back at it again.
Yes, sir. Another day, another dollar.
We still breathing, baby.
Still breathing. Trying to make sure these Flanagan Cubs don't fly today.
Listen, we're gonna do our due diligence with these Flanagans tonight.
Yes, sir. We ain't liquoring it up.
No liquor tonight. No liquor tonight.
No liquor tonight.
we doing a sober thing tonight. You dig what I'm saying? We doing a sober thing tonight. Yo.
Yes, sir.
As always, positive energy and good vibrations from me to you. It's your boy, RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman, and my guy,
JP, the Imperfect Husband.
Indeed. And this is another dope episode of the Imperfect Fathers Podcast, guys. I hope that you guys have had a phenomenal week since the last time we polished and checked in with you guys. We have had a lot of things going on in our lives because this is what husbands and fathers do. We have a lot of things that consistently go on. But you guys know, around this podcast, before we get into do anything, we got to do our due diligence and talk to the man upstairs that makes all of this possible.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day, another hour, another second. We thank you for our lives itself. The ups, the downs, the good and the bad. We appreciate it all because we understand it all makes up our life in its totality. So God, we thank you because we understand without our trials, we don't appreciate the blessings. So right now, God, we actually continue to look over us as we go out and be men, husbands, fathers, and leaders throughout the day. Cover us as we are these men and we're leading our families. God, we actually do this not only for us, but the people that watch and listen to this podcast. We actually go out there and be the God of all things to them and as only you can. In Jesus' name, we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
So what's up, my guy?
We here. We chilling. How about you, man? How's your week been?
Bro, this week has been a little, I don't know how to describe this week. I'm trying to get a grasp of it. This week has been a little, I would say new. That's how I can describe this week. It's been a lot of new experiences. Me and my son had a bonding moment this weekend. We went camping for the first time.
Remember you telling me about that. How did that go?
Yo,
let's talk about it.
Well, first of all, because of YouTube, I got to use certain words, but I found that I'm a house ninja.
Oh, really?
I was never meant for the outside. Like back in the day when we was on the plantation and all that. Yeah. I was trying to get in the crib. Me and outside never got along. Never. It was cool, but it was a bunch of new experiences, and overall, I can say I enjoyed the experiences. But am I gung ho on doing it again? Hell no. By no means am I super duper excited about jumping into that again, bro. By no means. But for what it was worth, I enjoyed. I enjoyed for what it was worth, if that makes sense. We spent overnight. We did a one-nighter down by the beach, actually, off of Oakland and A1A. Is like a little park right before you get to the beach.
Okay.
You pass it all the time. I pass it all the time and never recognized there was an entry to a park. But you go back there and they have like a little pavilion where it's set up for like campers and all those things. And then they give you a campsite area, which is pretty dope. It has the fire pit. Let me tell you about the damn outhouse, bro. Now, I'm not really country, I'm from New York. Shout out to the crib, city boy life. Now, I've been in a few outhouses in my day. You know what I mean? The bathrooms, and guys who don't know, outhouses is basically the porta potties for you northerners. The porta potties and then the side bathrooms for anyone who don't know what we're talking about right now. But the little side bathroom that you see the construction workers use and all those things you drive past, those bathrooms.
The latrines.
the latrines. Yo, but bro, by far, this was the worst one I've ever been in. So this one was like, it made me realize slavery existed.
You dumb.
It was that bad. No, it was it was that bad, bro. So check it.
Man.
So when I say the definition of a can, it was a can. The building little building, you walk up the steps, you open the door, and it was a can, bro, with jagged edges, like can. Like
Well,
you know how
you're supposed to become one with nature, so it's all right.
Let me tell you, bro, it was crazy because it's a literal, like, I'm going to use a can. You know how we say that?
Okay.
Bro, it was an actual can. I can't make this up. And when I went in, I was like, I'm okay. Like, she said we were going to rough it out for the weekend. I didn't know it was this rough. Like, it was so much of a can. If you sat on it, you cut everything that sat on it. Use your cheeks, legs, anything that touched that, you was getting Ebola. Okay.
Well, when I was a kid and we used to go to Dominican Republic, they had latrines,
mm-hmm.
and the latrines were built out of like tin.
The side panels of the house.
They were built out of tin, and it was a box, a little wooden box with a hole, and you would sit there and shit. So
I'm so grateful I didn't have to shit at all that weekend.
That's what you call living the countryside, right? Because you not only will you shit in a tin box with some wood panels, but you will have frogs next to you and roaches and all that.
I'll be damned.
And to clean your ass, it was either newspaper
or that grass.
No, corn cobs.
No diddy. Wait a minute. You wiped your ass with corn cobs?
The dried out corn cobs?
I'm never ever gonna look at corn the same. I'm never gonna look at corn the same. Thanks, Jose.
And then wrap, throw it in. So you would either you would either scratch your ass with the corn cob, or you would educate your ass with the newspaper. So you were doing one or the other.
Yo, poor corn cobs. Oh my God. I'm never looking at corn the same, bro.
Corn has new outlook in the country, they have corn cobs by excess because they will use the corn,
correct,
to give it to the chickens and whatnot. So they would dry out the rest and put it in the latrine.
Yo, that's hilarious. So what's that? That's like natural toilet tissue. That's
just about. Just about.
Yo, bro. So
but you gotta love it. You gotta love the countryside, bro, because that's when you learn humility, bro. That's when you learn the values of life. Growing up in the States, you don't value life as you do when you have to be one with nature.
Facts.
You end up understanding the privileges that you have in life when you end up having to clean your ass with a corn cob.
Word. Like that. I've never had to clean my ass with a corn cob, but just hearing that, I feel humbled. just hearing it, I feel gracious that I had the can. I feel privileged. Okay, I now feel privileged.
Yo, imagine you taking a shower. Imagine you taking a shower, because we have windows over there. They had the what is it called? The ones that flip, the ones that you slide and they open. It's not a window. Like it'll seal. Damn, I don't know how to. It's like a shade.
Okay.
It's like a shade. You slide the thing and it opens up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they would have those, but made out of wood, and they would always be open in the bathroom. So you're taking a shower, and next thing you know, you got a frog there just staring at you, ready to jump on you. That's the countryside.
Yo, yeah. Shout out to all of y'all country bumpkins. Everybody that be outside, like the nature lovers. Shout out to y'all, man. That ain't what I got in my DNA. I do appreciate y'all living y'all way of life, but it's just not one I'm choosing.
Just earlier today, my my son opened the door. My aunt was here in the house, and a palmetto bug just flew into the house. All the girls,
I already know they went berserk.
So I ran over, I grabbed it with my hand, opened the door, threw it out. Oh my God, you're a Floridian now. I lived in DR for God knows how long.
Right,
So
like that's nothing.
grabbing that is nothing.
Yo, but I ain't gonna hold you, bro. The whole experience of being outside, it wasn't that bad. The worst part for me was the actual dirt, feeling like having my skin feel so covered in something that I'm abiding in it after a while. Like I don't like to feel dirty. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was literally from 12 to 12, and I'm outside. I got a mixture of sweat, bug spray, and everything else that I'm coming in contact with, and it was just a reality of, wow, we're pampered. We're truly, truly pampered in every sense of the word, because down to the quality of the area we were sleeping in. We was inside of tents, small tents, right? And I'm in the tent with my son, so we didn't have. I didn't really want to go out and get all those sleeping bags and all that. So I figured I had my comforters and all that; it would be enough. And I had 2 extra couch cushions from my house, so I figured my son can sleep on couch cushions, and that'll be his little bed in there, and it would be straight. First of all, I did not count on how small the tent was. I'm 6'2". It's not really conducive to.
It's not made for big people.
My kneecaps were screaming all night long. So between the
shriveled,
yes, literally, and then I have my son who has all the cushion he wants, but he wants this cushion, my body to lay on. Son, could you please get off of me? Like, I'm laying on this hard grass right now. Like, you have the cushions to lay on. And then the worst of the worst part was the nighttime animals. And I don't mean the actual animals. I mean the boys that I was with. Yo, at 2:30 in the morning, you know what I hear?
What?
Whoo! That was a good nap. I'm ready. I unzipped my daggone tent, put my head to the mesh. Who said that? Who said it? If you don't take your little bad ass back to sleep, it's 2:30 in the morning. Go to bed. So now I'm the old man, right? And I'm like, when I close my tent, I'm like,
God damn, OG out here,
right? And I remember, I'm like, I used to be
go to sleep, OG.
I used to be that. I used to be the one telling OG to go to sleep. Now I'm the OG grumpy one, right? So then, guess what? Half an hour go past. Hey. So I'm like, oh, come on. Don't tell me I got animals on the campsite. I got to protect these boys. So now I go in there. I got the strap. So I'm like, if it's some kind of animal, if I'm not going to shoot at it because it's too close to the kids. Whatever this animal is doing, I'm going to scare it. And either if it's going to scare me, I'm going to run back in my tent, or we can all disperse. I come out my tent, you know what it was? All 4 of these jokers got in one tent, was in there trying to snickle, laugh, and talk and real quietly, and they in there ruffling around stuff in the tent. So when I go to look in the tent, I'm like, why is the tent rocking like this? I look in there, and there's 4 or 5 of the boys in there playing games. I said, I'm not even mad at y'all. Y'all tried to be quiet. You had me nervous that this damn raccoon is coming to attack y'all right now. So I'm going to let y'all just live and have the good time for the rest of the night. Them boys didn't go to sleep at all. Yo, I remember the days.
I was about to say, you don't remember you doing the same thing?
Bro, and just having the energy. Because, the next morning, when they dozed off and all that, but the next morning, by like 6:45, they were up throwing the football. I'm
like, what is the hardest part of parenting? Parenting the you?
Yes.
Out your kids?
Facts. And having the energy that you once had. Sometimes
we forget we was once that age and doing the same, probably worse. Because you know what? These kids got cameras now, right? So they're at least a little bit more aware of not getting caught on camera, right?
Right.
We didn't have cameras.
No.
So we were doing all kinds of reckless stuff.
Out and about. Thank God we was in the generation before cameras, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Because I probably be blackmailed and all kinds of stuff right now.
Golly. I don't know what he's talking about. I plead the fifth.
Yo. But so and another thing about camping this weekend, and I was very proud of my son. Out of all the 8 kids that we went, out of all the older boys, my son was the only one to catch a fish.
Nice.
Me and Joe's first time fishing, we caught a fish. It was dope, bro.
That's what's up.
It was a great experience because at first, like my son has no fear of nothing. I've been trying to find this. Sad, as crazy as that may sound, I've been trying to figure out what it is my son could possibly be scared of, and I haven't found it yet. We go on this trip, and before we get on the camping site, they take us to the nature area where they show us all the snakes, all different animals that they have. Excuse me. And the tour guide tells us we can't touch the animals. He would love us to be able to touch them, but we can't. So I'm like, all right, cool. Being that we can't touch him, I know we can't get close enough. Let me just see it. Yo, Joe, touch that snake. Okay, Dad. Yeah, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, this kid's not scared of nothing. I'm petrified of snakes. I wasn't even going near it. My son was like, let me touch it. I said, hell no. And then when it's time for the put the bait on the hooks, at first I was like, you got a live bait in there? They was like, yeah, it's shrimps in there. I was like, okay, well, y'all have to put it on there for me. Joe was like, Dad, here, you put it on there. Now I can't be a punk in front of my son, so I'm just like, thanks, Joe. I grabbed that shrimp. I was like, oh, put the hook in it. Hurry up and put it in the water. Wipe my hands over everything. It was gross, bro. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like, I'm not an outdoorsman.
You privileged ass. Look.
City boy ass, yeah, all that.
Oh man,
I'm all of that, bro. Like I told you, I'm a house ninja. Okay, like I'm keeping it a stack, bro. It wasn't for your boy.
It was slimy.
Yeah, bro. Like even right now, I'm still here like this right now. Like, oh no, I don't like that.
Oh man, don't get me wrong, bro. At one point in my life, I was like that too.
Yeah.
But then we moved to DR, and in DR, you just gotta get used to whatever.
Yo, y'all,
and don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I can say I lived a good life while living in DR, right? Because coming from the States, my mom that worked her butt off.
Yeah.
We were fairly well off.
Yeah.
In DR.
Right.
In the US, it was a different story, right? In DR, we were fairly in a better situation than most of the people there. So, it wasn't bad at all.
Right.
But being a kid, everybody else is doing things. You want to go do it too, right? There was ponds in the back. So we would go jump in these dirty ass ponds.
Right.
Dirty ponds. Like you couldn't see the floor dirty ponds. Like they were brown.
Oh, like Jones Beach?
Worse.
Oh, yo,
worse.
Did you know that until I moved to South Florida, bro, I did not get in water at beaches?
Bro, is that we come from New York.
Shout out to the
where
crib.
all we got is Jones and Orchard. Think about that. Wait. Let's think about that. And the Hudson, of course, we ain't getting in the Hudson. But think about that. Jones and Orchard.
Now,
we used to call Orchard Chocha Beach.
Ugh. We had a different beach though. We had one further out on the island. Robin Moses.
Oh, that was out there in the burbs.
Yeah.
We ain't go that far out, bro. So right now, right now, you showing how privileged you were.
Well, you know what the crazy part? It's about damn time a ninja was privileged out this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, it's about time we can sit in the space and say, well, I was privileged. And to be honest, like, shout out to my mom, man. Shout out to Mom Dukes because
for making that happen.
Yeah, bro. Like, because honestly, like, I know that I would have turned out how God had me to turn out, but because of the sacrifice she made in that era is why I'm here now in this space right now. Had she made a different choice, would have put me in a different environment to where I would have made different choices.
Yeah.
And for that, I'm grateful because at first, I'm not going to hold you. When I remember like it was yesterday, growing up, every year almost, bro. We talked about this before. I went to 4 elementary schools, 3 junior high schools, and 1 high school. Most kids only go to 1 elementary, 1 junior high, and 1 high. Mm-hmm. So every year almost, on average, I was leaving, going to a new school. So it wasn't until I got to high school, it was just like, yo, we this is where we are. We're stationed here. Cool. And at that point, I'm like, yo, I can now build friendships and relationships, but it took a lot, bro. It took a lot to understand, like, I'm gonna be here. You know what I'm saying? And the sacrifice that she made brought me into a space where I didn't have to be something I wasn't. Because if I stayed in the inner city, I would have had to be a lot more aggressive than what I turned out to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. I could see that because, growing up in the Bronx, I got accepted to, coming out of junior high school, I went to IS 137 in the Bronx, which was fire.
Yeah.
And then from there, I got accepted. The only school that accepted me coming out of that school was Gompers.
And that's crazy that you had to get accepted into schools in the city.
I got accepted to Gompers. Gompers was nothing to play with.
No.
When my mother knew the school that I was going to, this was before we left to DR. When my mother knew the school that I was going to, she said, nah, that's not happening. Mm-hmm. So I went to Gompers for like a week, got into like 3 fights that 1 week. And from there, I got switched over to Jane Addams. Jane Addams, I only lasted like 2 days. My mother pulled me out and said, all right, it's going to have to be the zone school, which was Roosevelt. Roosevelt, first day I go, I'm walking into Roosevelt. I look over to the right and I see people pulling guns up into the school and shit through the fucking, by ropes into the bathrooms. Mm-hmm. There was a precinct inside of Roosevelt downstairs and in the bottom floor. And I said, nah, this can't be it. This can't be it.
Can't be life.
I know for a fact that if I stay in this school, I'm fighting daily. Mm-hmm. First day, boy of mine got stabbed in the head. Another one got stabbed in the eye with a fucking screwdriver. Shootout broke out. Got home. My mother said, nah, this isn't happening. We leaving.
Right.
We leaving. About a week later, we were in Dominican Republic. Mm-hmm. About a week later, she gave up everything. My mother had a business for making best present curtains.
Yeah, it was telling me about that.
And she used to make really good money. She said, I prefer to lose everything than to lose my kids.
Yeah.
Packed up everything, we left. Now, at that point, I didn't understand it.
Right.
I didn't understand it. It was, why you taking me
from my friends, right? Exactly. Why are you doing this to me?
People I grew up with, because this is my block. These are my people.
Right.
And I kid you not, bro. At that moment, I didn't understand it, but after getting there and spending a year there, I can say that the best time of my youth were my high school years, because I was taken out of New York. If I would have stayed in New York, the reality was that I would have either been dead, in jail, or God knows what else. Right. But it would have not been the path that I have today. True. The beliefs that I have today would have been completely different. True. My mindset would have been somewhere else. Why? Because moving to Dominican Republic humbled me completely. It showed me that we were privileged, right, that we had everything. Meanwhile, in my mind during that time, oh, we ain't got shit. I can't get Jordans. Why I can't get this? Right. And why I can't get that? Right? Not understanding that, yeah, my mother would buy us. That's my first pair of Jordans I bought myself. But the clothes that she would buy us would be name brand. It would be Pepe, Boss, whatever brands were.
Tommy Hilfiger,
Carl Kanai, Cross Color.
Facts, Fubu.
So not even. This was before food, before all that. I'm talking about Carcanine, Cross Color, Pepe, Boss with the cheese bosses,
Yeah.
the all the colorful shits. This was during the Ewing days and the Cross Color
You
days.
talking early
Those
90s.
days, yeah.
Yeah.
When Chris Cross came out with their flip clothing and
Facts.
all that.
Facts.
So, to my
He
understanding,
just dated himself.
yeah,
like
for real,
a
I
mother.
really did date myself. I really did date myself. So, you know, she would buy us these clothes, but it wasn't. We didn't understand how the sacrifices she was making, right?
Yes.
We didn't understand sacrifices she was making. So us leaving to DR and seeing everything that was left behind and seeing the people that are now surrounding us that are not able to afford any of this. And not only that we're so poor they couldn't even afford electricity. Think about that. Meanwhile, in our home,
It's a flick of a switch.
the light would never go out. We would always have light.
Right.
We always had water. We always had electricity. And seeing everybody around us not having any of that and looking at us like we're the rich people.
Right.
That put my mind in a whole different perspective. Like, wow, we are privileged.
Right.
We are privileged because look at where we're at. Bro. Look at what they have. They have nothing. Because that poor in the United States is
luxury.
It's not. It's nowhere compared to the type of misery, poverty, not misery. The type of poverty that people live in third world countries at all.
Bro,
living in a cardboard house isn't a joke.
No, that's an actual thing. Like my wife and I on our honeymoon, I'll never forget this. This is my first time actually being abroad, and we went to Aruba, Curacao, and Grand Turks and Caicos, and on each one of the islands, it had its own, feel, its own ambience, and all those things. But when we got to Curacao, it was different. The island it's not but so big. You can you can stand on one of the top points and see the whole island on all sides of it. That's how big it is. Not that big. And, they give us a tour. And the tour, they get on the bus, they drive you around, show you all the landmarks and all those things. But while we was on the bus, I looked over and seen milk prices. Bro, I see milk for $8.99 a gallon, bro. I was blown away. Right? What the hell? Milk. Then we go a little further up the road to the gas station. Gas is $9 and change a gallon. What's happening out here? And then I didn't understand what was going on. The guy says to me, okay, this ride is $10. So I'm like, cool. No, he said it was $20. And I'm assuming it's $20 a person, so I gave the man $40. When I handed the person that was in the passenger seat the money, he looked at the money, looked over at the person in the driver's seat with this look like, he looked at the money, and I'm like, what's about to happen right now? Because what do you look at this money for? It's so weird. He said, oh, no, you gave me too much money. You said it's $20. I'm paying for me and my wife. No, it's $20 for the both of y'all. I said, oh, you know what? Being that you was honest, keep it. Bro, the dude was the happiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Why are you so happy about this right now? And then the tour guide do begin to talk to me. He says, what Americans don't realize, if these boats don't come in here, we don't eat. I was like, we're on vacation here and have a good time. Y'all are depending on us to come here and spending our money on leisure so you can eat. We're thinking that we're doing something just to relieve our stress and just get away and just be in this far off land of just enjoyment. And our enjoyment is their reality of life. Yeah. They were saying that when a few months before we came, there was boats had not came in for a few weeks. He was like, yo, we didn't get there was no money on the island. If the people don't come to visit, there is no money coming here. They buy all their stuff, all those things get imported because based upon the money they put out. But there's no money coming in for them. There's nothing for them to put out, and they can't get no goods and services. I said, to myself, here we are, literally flicking switches, bro. Simply turning faucets on. We got kids. Our kids turn the faucets on and walk out. Leave lights on and just walk out.
Open the faucet and sit on the toilet.
Let the water warm up. We are spoiled as a mug, okay? But the humbling reality is, we get so caught up in what we don't have, and when we start looking at having conversations like this and looking at things at this perspective, it's a reality check, bro, and it makes you grateful.
Yeah. Listen, the first time I had grandfather, my grandfather from my father's side, tell me, go grab that chicken.
I'm just laughing. I'm thinking to myself, what would I do if somebody had, yo, RJ, go grab that what, fam? Do what?
That was a life lesson. Because you know what?
Chicken was fast as hell, wasn't it?
He had a dog called Beauty. It was a white dog. And when the dog saw me chasing the chicken, he started chasing it too. And he caught the chicken and poured it down for me to be able to grab it.
The dog held you down.
I grabbed the chicken, take it to Grandpa, and he goes, this is how you kill it. Put the neck behind the wing, held it, sliced the throat, put it on the floor. That is a life lesson. Because when you end up seeing what it takes for you to be able to eat, because that's another privilege we have, right? We come to the house.
Bust that plastic open. That's it.
Our plate is either served if our mother's home or our father's home or whatever, right. Or you go in the refrigerator and grab something cold, throw it in the microwave, come out, eat it.
Read it, right?
Go chase a chicken, so that you can understand what it is to actually have to hunt for what you eat. Because that's what it is. You're hunting for what you're going to eat.
Yeah.
Right? Because after you grab that chicken and you kill that chicken, now you got to go peel that rice and dry it out so that you can cook it.
Time out. You got to peel rice?
Well, before they dry it, it has to be, it comes in it's like a little leaf and it's inside and you got to strip it and that's what the rice is.
I had no clue.
Bruh.
City boy for real, kid. Like privileges. Like, so we were born into the privilege, right? Like to the point where you don't even know what, like, you never had to go put wires together to turn your light on. You always had a switch. And our kids the same way. Like, all the privileges that we know, we don't know anything other than that until it goes away. And then we have instances like when power goes out and we're looking around like, what? No Wi-Fi. What we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, we are freaking out when we have power outages for like an hour or two. You know what I'm saying? So this weekend when I was out there, I was like, I was in my tent, right? And it was dark. I'm like, I can't see nothing. Where's it? Like, ain't no damn light. Where's my flashlight at? This is some bullshit. Like, I'm like, I can't do nothing without holding the light. And then when it was time for us to go light the campfire and all that, the dude that was like, all right, start the fire. So I'm looking around like, who got a lighter? He's like, nah. There's some sticks over there. There's some dry wood. You got to figure out this fire. Or you think that I'm about to sit here and, all right, I got something for you. I went right to my car and got that good old Bic. Fire, okay? Like, I'm not about to sit here and cut my hands up with no wood and all the other whatnot. Nope. But one thing I did learn that dried out palm leaves make great fire. I saw those and I put them in the fire, and man, that fire blew up. Yes, it did. It went boom.
Yeah, so we basically need to be able to not balance out what the privilege is, right?
Right.
What we consider to be privileged at. right? And know how much of that can we give our kids, and how much and what we need to make them work for, right? Because when we give them too much, what we end up doing is we end up harming them more
later
than what we are trying to accomplish. Because us coming from having little, right? We don't want our kids to go through that, or at least in our mind, we say, yeah, I don't want my kids to ever go through what I went through. But if you think about that and you take that away from them, then all we're teaching them is entitlement.
Yes.
All we're teaching them is entitlement.
Yes.
So they need to struggle somewhat.
Yes,
right? You need to let them fall on their face sometimes, so that then you can say, okay, how did that feel? Do you like that feeling? Because I know for a fact you don't. Right. So this is what it takes for you to not fall flat on your face.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that what we need to do to make sure of that is heal as parents.
Yeah,
I said this before, because like a lot of us, especially in our age right now, in our late 30s, early 40s, a lot of us, especially men, haven't turned the switch on that it wasn't negative, but it was necessary.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, once we replace those two words, you look at life with a new perspective, because if you look at things as if it was negative, you're not going to allow your children to go through it.
Yeah, definitely. You're absolutely right.
You're going to look at it as, oh, that was torment. It was, I didn't like it. It didn't feel good to me. But what you're negating is what came out of it.
Yes.
How you turned out because of it. And that's where you have to realize, oh, it wasn't so much negative, but it was necessary for me to be who I am today. And we'll look at who we are today and forget what made us what we are today.
You can't have a precious metal without fire.
At all. At all.
You can't have a precious metal without fire, because when you pull it out of a rock, it's raw.
That's it. That's all
you
it is.
You need to put it through fire to be able to polish it.
Yeah, and to mold it and to move it how it's supposed to be moved. Absolutely.
Because if you try to polish a piece of gold coming out of a rock, and it'll stay as dull as it is.
Yeah.
Until you don't put it through that fire and the pressure that it needs to take,
yeah,
you can't polish it. So it's the same thing with a child.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with us.
Really? Seriously.
You need to put yourself through the fire so that you understand, wait, this is what I needed.
Yeah.
For me to be able to understand what it is that I'm going through. But if you don't get out of your comfort zone, you'll never put yourself in that fire.
No. And you'll make excuses the entire time.
Yeah.
So one thing I've learned, especially like as I said in this chair right now, y'all, I'm gonna be real with y'all. Your boy body hurt. This is my third weekend of consistent in the gym, and this process, especially this morning where I did not want to do it, I said to myself, in the moment I was in despair, I didn't want to do it no more. If I give up now, what else today will I give up on? If I give up on this workout right now, what else today will I give up on? And the reason why that was so significant is because we don't realize how we do one thing is the majority of the time how we do everything. And if we're willing to give up on one thing, I'll put this to the side. Later on down the road, when you need that stick-to-itiveness and you need to push through, you're not gonna have it because you've already given up early.
Yeah.
And what I've learned in that is, like, I can't expect my son to grind and go hard if I don't grind and go hard. And the pain that I feel, I put myself through so I can go through. So if I'm willing to put myself through the pain, my son has to go through some. He has to. My daughter has to go through some pain, because if they don't, when will their resilience kick in? When will they become resilient? How will they know how to fight?
I'm sorry, but I can't give up my dad bod.
Why? Why can't you give it up? What you got to sell or something? You make sure you caught on a good deal.
It's a big investment, bro.
Heavy on the investments?
Bro, there's a couple of million invested in food in here, bro. Crazy.
And you got to keep a stockpile, right? I hear you.
I'm going into hibernation soon.
Yo, let me tell you, I ain't gonna lie to you.
Comic relief.
My body is killing me. Oh, speaking of comic relief, you know what time it is, right? Yes, it is. Am I the only one?
All right. Yo, before you even say that, my aunt earlier, she was like, look, you need to stop stretching out your shirt in the in on the show. All right. You need to stop. Just accept it. I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm accepting my dad bod. All right. I got the keg on deck.
Your auntie. You ain't have to do them like that, though. Like, you ain't got to do them like that. God, it be your own family, right? It be the ones you love.
It be the ones you love. Love
Yo,
you,
listen. But and let me tell y'all, and like the reason why, like I've been like, I'm going back to my roots and getting my body back together is because I've learned that depression happens with no motion.
You know what? You're so right, bro. You're so right. If you stay stagnant, you start thinking about things that don't need to be there.
And it's not even like you can control it.
You can't.
And this is why when they say control your mind, in order to control your mind, I've learned that before you can control your mind, you have to control your physiology.
Yeah.
You have to be able to control this physical being, because a body in motion changes the thoughts that go through the mind. But a body still.
When you're this big, I'm truly not big, but you know,
for
my frame,
yeah,
I'm
absolutely,
big.
for your standard.
You produce hormones that trigger depression, anxiety,
absolutely,
all sorts of mental unstable,
absolutely,
instability.
Correct.
And you're absolutely right. It needs to be attacked.
And so shout out to my man Dave. I know you're going.
I'll be going to the gym with you soon. Now that you convinced me.
Yo, it's on wax. I heard him. Y'all heard him. He said he's going. But yo, shout out to my man Dave, because.
But I still ain't giving up my dad bod.
Oh no, yo, listen. That dad bod it's gonna leave him. Like that, the pain of the dad bod leaving is you when that thing when you start leaving, you're gonna be like, oh God, I don't want it back. I don't want it back. And shout out to my man Dave, because Dave was going through a lot, and he's a hell of a man, bro. Like I'm talking about, like I pray someday to be as strong as he is, because he goes through a lot and he bears so much on a regular basis, day-to-day basis. And for men like him, after a while, you know, like you get tired. And a few weeks ago, I called him and he was just down. He was just talking about he didn't want to move. He didn't want to do nothing. He didn't want to come out the house. And, you know, when you have that time, it's okay. Go through it. Feel it. Be in it. I preach that heavily. Like when you feel an emotion and you got to do it, just go through it. Don't avoid it. Don't try to like run through it. Whatever that emotion is, see it through. So I gave him time. I gave him a week. You know what I mean? The next week, it was the same thing. And I'm like, nah, this is not what we're doing. So chewed him out a little bit on the phone, and he talked to him again. A few days later, he calls me and I'm in the gym. And I'm busting my ass in the gym when he's calling me. And he's just on his same, man, I'm depressed. And I'm like, yo, you're going to stay that way. Till you move your body. Until you move, because even myself, when you're stuck in a space, and this is for anybody listening right now, and I'm like, please hear me. If you hear nothing else about the podcast, please listen to this. When you are stuck in this space of depression, you are stuck because you're physically not moving. And the more you don't move, as to your point, the more those hormones and those negative things in your body begin to build up. And one thing you can't do is come out of it alone. Like, there's no object or anything in life that is going to be able to move itself when it is stuck in space. Nothing. This cup right now needs me to move it. It needs you to move it. And our beings, our emotional beings and our physical beings are the same way. Once we find ourselves stuck in a space of depression or unmotivated or just in a lack of motivation, that's not going to change until something or someone outside of yourselves come and snatches you out of it or moves you.
Yeah.
And to Dave's credit was, I was chewing him out, and he accepted it. That's one thing that I want to be pointed out as well. You have to be mature enough to receive being chewed out if you want to be better as an individual. Yeah. Because I know for myself personally, it took me a long time to be able to receive someone chewing me out when I needed it necessarily to receive it. But to Dave's credit, he took it. And it's been 2 weeks. And that man's a completely different man. And we was talking about today in the men's group that just who he was a month ago to who he is right now, even he's shocked because of how he thinks differently. And the only thing that changed, money didn't change, situations, all stuff on his shoulders is still there. Nothing changed. Only thing that changed was his body movement. And his brain now thinks totally differently. He's reaching for thoughts now that were positive to give him a better outlook, rather than wallowing in negative thoughts that's going to only keep him in spaces where he couldn't do nothing for himself.
Yeah, that's the literal definition of insanity.
Yeah.
Sitting on your ass day by day and thinking that something different is going to happen.
Yeah.
That is insanity.
Swear to God. It truly is. And then it's crazy because the cycles we put ourselves in as human beings is that we believe that if we sit down and quote unquote rest, that we're getting what we need. But in no actuality, a body needs movement. If you realize there is nothing on earth that stays still. Name one thing that stays still. You can't. Because the earth itself moves. So if the thing that we're on is moving, there's no way we're ever staying still. So even our thought process has to be, whenever I'm in this funk, I got to move this body.
Yep.
I got to move this body. So now that's what I'm living on. Like, even if I go into a spell where I'm like, but we talked about earlier, the money in the situation, like I wanted to be able to give my wife more money than I had at the time. And it frustrated the hell out of me. And instead of me sitting down and just going to smoke some weed or doing something stationary, I went outside and got a jog in. I went outside, I did a couple push-ups. I got a little workout in. And just that was enough for me to clear my mind and say, you know what? I'm not going to think about what I don't have. I'm going to think about how can I go get some more money and add to this so I can have enough now. So the thought process is totally different based upon what? Just movement. Literally, that's all movement. It wasn't like I went outside and made this magic potion and none of that. It was simply just moving my body. So that's where now, like, because I'm not perfect. There's days where I wake up in funks like everybody else. But now it's like, oh, wait a minute. I can get out of this. And to another point, choosing to get out of it. Because let's talk about it, fellas. How many of us that we will be in some shit that we know we don't have to stay in because we're locked in, we want to stay in it. You ever been there?
Yep.
Well, like, you know emotionally you can come out of it, but you just don't want to.
Become stubborn.
Yeah, you choose to stay in it.
Like, you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
That's basically a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice. It's like waking up the next day and still being the same person. It's a choice.
And speaking of waking up, so we talked about it earlier, and I think this is good. It's good to bring it to the platform too, because I don't know, Phil, whoever's going through something right now, like the scripture has gotten me through a lot of things in my life, especially over the last 4 years. Like I feel like I've really matured the last 4 years because of everything that I've been through with my family. And the one scripture that has really helped me is that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And as we were talking earlier, I was breaking it down to why it means so much and how my brain has really soaked it up to where it's now my everyday thought process. Because it says, weeping may endure for a night. Now, the words, when you break down the words, weeping, obviously know what it means, crying. And may means might, right? Like it might and might not. It might and may endure for a night. Now, the night might actually mean a night. Overnight, it could be. That night could be a day, 2 days, a week, a month, a year, depending on what the catastrophe is or whatever the situation may call upon. But the best part about the scripture is the next word. The next word is but. And we already know, whenever you put
cancels everything before.
Right before, it knocks it all out. Now, after that's knocked out, right? After the weeping part is knocked out, but joy will come in the morning. And you look at that like, but joy will. Weeping may, but joy will. And joy will if I endure the weeping. So basically what it's saying is your victory is guaranteed. Your sorrow is not. It might last or it might not. That's not guaranteed. But the joy is guaranteed only if you endure the weeping. So now my thought process is, no matter what it is, I can't give up because my victory is guaranteed on the other side of whatever it is. So now when I'm going through, all right, I'm going to cry. I'm going to be sad. I'm going to hurt.
Which it shows that everything that we were told as men or as boys is completely irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
Because the Bible itself says, cry.
Yes. If you must,
If
cry.
you must,
Yes.
cry.
Yes.
Because after you cry,
Mm-hmm.
after you weep,
That's where the joy is at.
you'll have joy.
Yeah.
You will have
Guarantee.
joy.
It's a guarantee. And that's where we have to hold on to the guarantee. So I said a lot to say this. I don't know what you're going through. I don't. But one thing I do know for a fact, if you hold on, and before we even get to the hold on, because I think men need to hear this. Fellas, cry. If you're hurt, be hurt. If you're sad, please be sad. Because what we don't realize is that it's inevitable. Those emotions are going to happen to you. But what we do is we try to run from them and we try to avoid them in our minds, thinking that at some point they'll just dissipate.
Yeah.
But in all actuality, when you look up at the worst opportune moment, that's when you'll be forced to deal with it. So my prayer and my quest to you from my heart, desire to you, is to that feel what you feel and don't be afraid to feel it. If you're hurting, hurt. I know this may sound counterintuitive and this may sound against any other teaching you've probably heard anywhere else. But if you're going to have to be hurt, please be hurt. Or be hurt for one night. Now, I don't mean that as one physical night because obviously pain might take more time. But whatever the time is that you need, let that be it. And don't let it subsede that. Because what we don't need to do is prolong things that we shouldn't prolong. And pain is one of those things that we have a choice after we've gotten through the process that we can see we can prolong or we can let it ride. And I think that if we sit into the pain and not try to avoid it and deal with it the right way, once it's time for it to dissipate, you can be settled. Because right now, the happiest thing, the best thing I did for myself in the last 2 years was literally, like I told you before, was shut myself down for that December. I found out my best friend killed herself. That month of December was the best thing I've ever done for myself, flat out, because I have never experienced a trauma of that nature. And looking back, had I not shut myself down and closed shop of the business and stopped the podcast and everything else, had I not stopped, I probably would have crashed out somewhere else later on. Because I was devastated, bro. Devastated. Because the one person that's been with me through every school I've been through, every relationship I've been through, every ups and downs, my mother, my stepfather, grandmother, Pat, all of that, he was the only one that was through all of it. Every time I had to leave a school, he never changed. Now he's gone. And the crazy part was I had just spoken to him. So all the I wish I could have, I should have spoke to him. All the things that we as men do to ourselves when we feel like we should have been able to do something. Yeah. All those thoughts I had to sit in because they were coming at such a rapid pace. If I would have avoided them, I would have just been at some point crashing out, yelling at my wife, frustrated at my kids, done something else, found one of my demons kicked up, and then I've done something I don't want to do. Yeah. So Tye Tribbett is a phenomenal musician. He's a gospel artist. And he was at a concert, and he, during the concert, he began to freestyle. And the freestyle turned out to be one of the hardest songs in the world right now to me. Like, it's dope. And it goes to the premise of what we're talking about right now. What he's saying in the song is that if you're going to be sad, only for one night. If you're going to cry for one night. If you're going to be sad for one night. Because joy is coming in the morning. And I think that that's a cry out song for all of us men, because if we don't feel, bro, how do we help our wives that operate only in feeling? This is why there's so much disconnect between relationships and because us men and women, because they operate in the thing that we run from. You know what I'm saying? They flow in emotions, the very thing that we shun.
Yeah.
So we can't flow with them if we're denying ourselves. And this is why now, like, my wife will tell you, she's confused some days because she's like, I don't know how to deal with you because the facade that I came into a relationship with, I don't have anymore. I'll tell her in a heartbeat, baby, I'm sad. I'm hurting. I'm not feeling good. And where I used to be like feeling like kind of weird, I'm telling her this. Now she nurtures that for me. And it's crazy because it's like Miles Monroe said, when your wife meets Clark Kent, she respects Superman a whole lot more.
Yeah.
And to this day, bro, like even this afternoon, I was a little down about because I wanted to see my mother this week, and I didn't have the means just to go see her. You know, I got a little down on it. And before I got a chance to say anything, she's like, "Baby, are you okay? Are you sad? Are you down?" And I was like, "Yeah, a little bit." She's like, "I feel it." And just a simple stroke of the head, "You're gonna be okay." That's all I needed. Felt better. But had I not shown her that Clark Kent needs that, I'd have still been operating under the facade of Superman and still hurting inside and with no one to really help me.
Yeah, and it's it really comes down to the fear that we have as men that will be used against us. Mm-hmm. Being vulnerable, showing that vulnerability, saying what we would call weakness. Mm-hmm. That one day, by showing that, one day there'll be a conversation where it comes up as, "Oh, you remember that day you was crying? That was some bitch shit." So that's where I feel that a lot of men refrain from showing that type of emotion.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's where it becomes difficult. No man wants things like that to be thrown in their face because we're supposed to be strong.
Right.
Right? That's what we're taught. We're supposed to be strong. As the man, you're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to lead. You're supposed to. So until there's not a solid communication within a couple, a relationship, that fear is always going to exist. Right. Because that communication and trust needs to exist first.
Right.
Right. But that trust gets broken just a little, then the communication that needs to come to be able to be vulnerable will never come.
Yeah.
Because the trust isn't fully there.
Yeah.
To know that will never be thrown in your face, that won't be held against you. Because how many men don't live in relationships and something that happened 10 years ago that they've probably spent the whole relationship trying to rebuild so that the errors that they committed during that time never happen again. Any little argument, that moment comes up. So then how do you ever heal from that moment? So no matter how much you've done to try to heal that moment for both, right? Because it was a situation that both went through. Even though the man might have caused the situation, if he loves the person that he's with, he's going to do everything possible so that the person that he's with doesn't hurt.
Correct.
So it's a healing process for two. Yeah. Because the man is trying to heal off of the harm that he has caused the person that he loves. Yeah. But he's also trying to have the person that he loves understand that he'll never do this again.
Right.
And I want you to be able to trust me. Mm-hmm. Let's get back to that point in communication. That point in trust. Right. where you can see that this will never happen again. But then any little thing comes up and that is returned there. So it's basically you take 10 steps forward, but then 20 steps backwards. And then trying to catch up to those 10 that you already took, it becomes almost impossible. So when can you become vulnerable at that point? Mm-hmm. And that's what it gets to.
And to that, I would say, because I've experienced that, and what I've learned in that situation was that how I grieve is not how she grieves. My process is not her process, and her process is not my process. But amongst my process, I have to be accepting and understanding that her timeline is not my timeline. So where I might have gotten over it emotionally, she's still dealing.
That's the fact.
And like, this is what I want to tell every other man that's in this situation dealing with this woman, that you've done it, you caused any kind of harm. You can't undo what you've done with your sorry. Can't. And it's going to take her process for her to get through it. And to your point, if you're in a situation where things happen in the past and they come back up, she's not trying to make you relive it. She's trying to let you know that she's not done living it. She hasn't coped with it yet. She hasn't released it. She hasn't gotten over it yet. Because we operate in trying to avoid feelings, but they are a ball of feelings. So the meaning is, if they bring it up, they're still dealing in it.
They're still dealing with it.
So if it comes back up, don't get frustrated. Get strategic. How can we get you past this now? What do we need to do to make this over for you?
I get what you're saying in that point, but it's not about making that the conversation. It's not you saying, how can I get you past this? Because all that would do is create something else. It'll create another sort of argument. It's when you say becoming strategic, it's about understanding what actions you need to take as a man to be able to move forward in this situation that's going to prolong for as long as she needs to heal.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you need to accept that within yourself, understanding that it will come back, that it will be mentioned, and you can't allow it to scorn you.
Yeah.
Because if you do, then you'll never be able to open up.
And that
You'll never be able to become vulnerable.
And that also proves that you're not over it yet.
That you're not over it either.
Because that's the one thing that happens. When things get brought back up, two triggers happen. The person who's brought it up is already triggered, but the person who's now receiving the information is now triggered too. It's like, whoa, I thought we was over this. Like, why are we going back to this? Like, now all the emotion that you had not dealt with, now they're kicking up again. Now you're angry, you're frustrated, you're annoyed. All these things are kicking up, and simply, you weren't supposed to be triggered. Because had you dealt with it, you wouldn't be triggered. And this is why I say, deal with emotions before they deal with you. Deal with them. Because guess what?
They will come.
And you will have to deal with them.
We'll have to deal with them.
And I'm now more okay with dealing, because it's not as bad as we think it is. And then when it's over, it's like, I needed that.
Yeah.
It's like a workout. And the truth of the matter is, no one loves to work out except for the meatheads and gym heads and all those guys. But once you're done with the workout, you're like, yo, I needed that. And no matter how grueling it was, I needed that. And it's the same thing with dealing with the emotions. It's whack while you're dealing with it. When you're in the midst of it, it's like, come on. But once you get out of it, once you come through it, it's like, yo, that was necessary.
It was needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was needed.
So, bro, we
still haven't done the.
Thank you, because I was hoping, I'm like, yo, is he gonna try to sidebar? Am I the only one tonight?
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that.
So in this week's Am I the Only One?
with this week's "Am I the Only One?" is how we gonna end the show today.
Facts. We go end it on "Am I the Only One?" So this week's on "Am I the Only One?" This is actually not even mine. This is one of my guys. So, am I the only one that literally takes the what did he say he had? I forgot what all right, so I'm having a hard time naming the thing, but it's like a bouquet of flowers, right? You ever go get your wife the flowers she desires? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And you're excited. You go, you're doing everything, and then you go and surprise her at the job with the flowers. You get there, you nervous because you know everybody gonna look at you. You're gonna tell you all the flowers here and all that. And when she get there, you go to bring her the flowers, and she says thank you and takes it and walks off with no kiss or no nothing.
Bro, that would be the last time I walk in there with flowers.
Yo, but the reason why I'm bringing this up is because
I better at least get a
somebody better give me an aw.
Something.
And I don't care if the person I'm bringing the flowers. Somebody in that building better give me an aw. Oh, he's so nice. Something, right? I better get something out of that deal. But
and I took him personally too.
Yo, because sure enough, old boy was tight. He brought up in the meeting tonight. So, shout out to you, Ray. So the thing what happened was she was frustrated. She had just gotten to it with her boss. Something happened at her job, and he had brought her flowers directly after the meeting with the boss. So it was like, come out of the meeting, get chewed out, ass chewed out, and here go these flowers from your man. So it was like, he's like, oh, I'm about to get these drawers tonight. I'm about to walk in there. They gonna see me bringing these flowers. She gonna feel like the queen of the building. And he didn't get none of that.
You're probably getting an earful right now.
So I want to know, is Ray the only one?
Damn, why you had to throw his government out there, though?
Well, listen, nobody know my guy Ray, but Ray's a good dude. But is he the only one? Because the truth of the matter is, I've been there. Not my wife per se. I have went to go bring a girl flowers, and she damn sure shitted on me like, I don't like flowers.
I don't know what you're talking about. I never taken the flowers myself. That's why we got shipping.
So
I ain't trying to embarrass
you
her.
ain't trying to take the L?
I'm doing it for her. I'm not trying to embarrass her in front of all her friends.
Yo, speaking of embarrassment, now this is a way to end the show. Yo, what would you do if you and this girl were dating for a long time? You get the unction and like, yo, I'm gonna propose to her. You're trying to think of this grand way to do it, and you get the idea of, let me go to her job.
And you put the ring in the flowers?
You just, check this out. You come into the store. I watched this happen. You come into the store, you see her, sees you, tell her to come in, she walks over. You get on one knee in the middle of the store. And she turns around and walks away. I've witnessed that.
You know what that means?
Yeah.
That means that you didn't really know the person you were with.
Or, which I know for a fact was the case, you try to propose to get yourself out of hot water.
That too.
And it never works.
That too.
Never works. You can't propose yourself out of trouble. Take that from two G's who've been there, done that.
You'll be proposing to the trouble. Not to your girl.
Hey,
it's to the trouble.
All facts.
Because even after you get married, that trouble's still gonna come up in every conversation.
And let me tell you, once you're married, there is no I don't want to talk about it no more. Right? Remember we had that power when we was dating? Yeah, I don't want to talk about this no more. It's done. When you married, That's not really a thing anymore. Fellas, if you want to keep your power, hold off on that ring.
Bro, you trying to get us killed with the ladies?
Nah, man, y'all know.
Kill with the ladies.
Y'all know I'm playing.
Man, if you want to keep your power, stand your ground and don't argue back. Just walk out the house and come back when things are cool.
Yeah.
And say, baby, I love you. And that's it. Boom. Bang, bang.
That's all. That's all it takes. It works in his house. Oh, listen, man. As always, we wait till the end of the podcast all the time to say it, but we get so caught up in the beginning that it just slips my mind. But as usual, as always, we need you guys. We need you guys to hit that like button, that subscribe button, mostly because it helps us a lot with the algorithm. And like I said, it's about 80-some-odd% of y'all are watching us. That I truly appreciate, bro. I gotta show you the stat. Yep. They're watching us, but they will not hit that subscribe button. Yo, the button is right there. Wait, it's somewhere below your little screen you watching this on right now. Just hit it. That's all. Help us out. It's digital currency, and we greatly appreciate it, man. So before we get up out of here, Jose, what you got before we got up out of here, man?
I just want to say thank you to everybody that's out there. We are seeing the numbers. We see you guys watching. We greatly appreciate everybody that's out there watching.
Sure.
Little by little, we're taking this where it needs to go. Extremely excited of the path that we're paving.
Thanks.
And you know, I get messages all the time of people telling us how great the content is that we're putting out, and then they spew everything they had.
They drop it.
I appreciate you guys too.
Word.
Just know we're here for you, and keep them coming.
Absolutely. Thank y'all so much, because seriously, we do it for you guys. We do it because we have a selfish reason that we do it for our children and for them to be able to hear and see us later on. But in the right now moments, we do it for you guys. We do it because we don't have all the answers, but we have a lot of them. We've been through a lot. We appreciate where we are in life. We're humbled and honored by God for putting us in this position. But we also understand that we have to do right with the information that we have, and that is giving it back and making sure that other men have the information to go on and be better.
Give them your Manik.
My who?
Your Manik.
Oh,
Manik.
Yes. So I am now on Manik. Pronunciation we're working on.
We'll put it somewhere here.
Yeah, we're gonna put it in down in the description. Definitely. I don't know. I'm gonna try to put it here too, but we're gonna definitely put it down in the description, man. So if you do have any questions concerning fatherhood, husband, being a dad, being a man, anything concerning of those natures, and you just want a little insight, and I have it, I will definitely help. Menectus. That's Menectus. That's a little no ditty. I don't know. It sounds a little weird. Okay, never mind. But yeah, Menectus, I'm gonna put that down in the description, man. So it's definitely another way that you can reach out to us, and we can answer any question that you may have concerning being a husband, father, or leader. So we appreciate you. And the last thing I'm gonna say before this week, I want to leave with you guys is choose happiness. It's a choice. Choose it. Don't keep choosing to waddle in your negativity, because it's gonna continue to get you what it's already gotten you, and you don't want that. Try something new. Choose joy. So, as always, dads, to the world, that's all you are. You're just a dad. But to your family, you're the world. Don't you forget that. But until the next time we see you in these podcast streets, be good to yourself and the ones around you. But if you can't be good to the ones around you, that's all right. Just get those people from around you. Yo, this is your boy RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman, and
JP, the Imperfect Husband.
This has been another dope episode of the Imperfect Fathers Podcast. Y'all be blessed, because we will. Peace, y'all.
Peace.